everybody, it's your old friends at Monday Madness, and welcome to this a brand new professional wrestling podcast called GrapsWatch, where we're reviewing everything and anything that intrigues us in the pro wrestling universe as we are recording. On this episode, I'm being joined by Dave and Jamie to preview what it means to have a good Royal Rumble or a bad Royal Rumble, depending on, and what we think is going to happen as the Royal Rumble emanates from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia this year. After that, then, we're going to have a little dabble into the Mirror Universe, as we are going to be showing some of my 2K Universe mode that I have crafted with some help with my friends here. We've all taken different brands and done a basic basic draft, if we can call it that, based on space and the amount of people I can download in one fell swoop. I'm going to show you the rosters that we ended up with, and so you have Jamie, who picked Raw. I went for Smackdown. Cork picked NXT. Dave went for Dynamite, and Kieran had the unenviable task of picking out the Impact roster from the slim pickings that we had here. So they'll be all on screen, and as you're listening to this podcast, you'll be watching some of the matches from that universe mode. And during the show, then, we have a chance to predict one of the pay-per-views that happened on that universe mode so far. And to end the podcast, we are going to be doing a segment called Top Graps, where we're trying to find the top 10 most interesting wrestlers at this moment in time, put them on a scale, and then see how they do from week in, week out as the podcasts go on. But that's all GrapsWatch coming up right now, so enjoy. Okay, all right then. So I suppose the best place to start, if anything, guys, is with the Royal Rumble, because it is quite literally a couple of days away at time of recording, and it will be maybe shorter by the time that you are listening to this. So, before we kind of get into like the nitty gritty of it and the kind of like, you know, the boring bits like predicting how the Rumbles are going to go, and you know, is it you know the how do we think WrestleMania is going to shape up as, and all these other boring bits. Can we live in a world where Jey Uso might win the Rumble again? The answer is no. But I was thinking more with kind of like a more kind of sideways glance on a Rumble is like, when it comes to a Royal Rumble, obviously it's like, I don't think it's a controversial thing to say that it's probably one of the best match gimmicks ever made. It is just perfect. It's actually harder to fuck up a Rumble than it is to make a good one. It's one of those ones that kind of leans into the dopamine inducing like brain of a wrestling fan. Yeah. But I kind of wanted to have this discussion and see like what kind of like the anatomy of a Royal Rumble in a sense. What do you think makes a really, really good Rumble? Like I'm giving you lads a chef's hats here. You're on the booking committee. What kind of like key things do you think a Royal Rumble actually needs to be not only good but only to be brilliant? Because obviously we all have our favorite Rumbles in some shape or fashion, and they're molded.
I'm going to start here. I'm going to start here. The number one thing in my book that has to be good for a Rumble is placement. You have to stretch out those big pops so the whole thing flows in a certain way. Because if you have all the big stars at the start, well, what's the point of the rest of them coming out? People are going to pop for everyone. So when you have those special people in at, say, 6, then 15, then maybe 17, then 20, and near the end is when the bigger ones get in then. And then you have a nice, rise from bottom to top in the Rumble. And then second for me is spots. If you're gonna give the guys a rest in the ring, there has to be something like a Kofi Kingston spot, or, from now on, Javon Evans, bouncy and all that. You have to have these spots maybe that are a little bit unpredictable and a little bit shocking. That keeps the crowd engaged, because no matter how many people are in there, if you don't have any spots and people just get thrown over, they're going to get bored. So it's like when you had that face off in the ring at one point between like Kane and The Undertaker years ago, for example, where the camera just panned on them staring at each other. If you had Roman Reigns coming in and Cody, say, face off in the middle of the ring, you could literally spend 15 seconds just with the camera on them two while the rest of the lads get a rest in. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like placement and spots are, in my book, the two most important things that make a good Rumble, and don't make it more than 30, because nobody wants that 40-man shit again.
Yeah, no, we've been through that. It was traumatizing, and Braun Strowman still lives to speak the tale. How about yourself, Jamie? What's the kind of things that you kind of pick out of a Rumble that really kind of speaks to you in your wrestling brain?
Much in the vein of Dave's points is pacing.
Hmm.
That it all of the really good rumbles nearly have distinct matches almost within them. They have different
Hmm.
chapters at least. Where like I know 2001 had like the brief moment of being the hardcore rumble,
Mhm.
or a couple of years ago we had Brock Lesnar going on his tear and eliminating everyone until Drew McIntyre kicked him out. And
Mhm.
like just distinct things. The other thing is there has to be some degree of unpredictability, some kind of surprise. Doesn't matter if it's a legend, if it's an NXT rookie, if it's an indie star joining. People will be disappointed if it's just people on the roster that they're expecting. There needs to be some level of surprise.
Yeah.
That's a fair
Yeah,
point, actually. I wonder, like,
yeah.
how our kind of current kind of like as well, like our current social media kind of like environment. Like, obviously, it's hard. It's in a way, it's kind of harder to pull off that kind of like very pure Rumble like excitement and buzz of a surprise entrance, because oftentimes, like, I'm reminded of the 2008 Rumble where Super Snuka and Piper show up out of nowhere, and it's like, and they're right beside each other as well, so it's absolutely ludicrous. Like, it's
Yeah. Was
just
that the
like it.
Jericho feud? Was that the
I think that could
no,
have
no,
been. I think that was
was
the year
it
after. I think it is the one I'm
year
thinking
after?
Yeah,
of was the Rumble for 20, Mania 24, where Cena wins it. It's in Madison Square Garden,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
but
Yeah. I
they
think
do a
Jericho
great
had this
callback to
yeah.
their kind of like
My
their feud.
favorite, my favorite part of that is they start doing the spot where Snuka looks like he's going to hit Piper with the coconut,
Yeah.
like to finally get his revenge. And CM Punk is very clearly lying down having a rest on camera, marking the fuck out, having the time of his life.
Yeah, he is an old soul. I have to give him that. But yeah, like something like that kind of is reminiscent because like something like that now you would be told ahead of time, like, or if you know where to look, there's a kind of like it almost takes the fizz out of it a little bit because like again we don't know because we're talking in the past here, but 99% like sure we're probably going to see a Jericho of some description in this Rumble or certainly Rumble adjacent. Like it is only a matter
Yeah.
of time in that respect, but. It's also the fact, like, again, a lot of people, there's been a lot of discourse about like names being announced before the Rumble, kind of putting like a bit of body and a bit of numbers. And the more numbers they kind of let out, in a sense, not the actual Rumble numbers, I should say, I mean the actual participants. Like that, does that take the fizz out of the matches for you guys in particular? Do you want it to be a completely randomized kind of thing for you, or do you like kind of a mixture of both, of knowing who's going to be in it, and then perhaps just a few little spots that are on
Yeah,
claim?
I think this year they've done really well because realistically, at the moment, only 15 have declared for the Rumble. That's half
Mm,
the male roster. So if you go in with half the people that you know and half that you kind of know, but you don't. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not including like your Joe Hendrys or your NXT rookies that use like a Ricky Saints or whatever. Um, so I think having them only announced like 15 for me, I'm buzzing because now I know, okay, there's 15 that I absolutely know nothing about.
hmm
Unless they copyright something 2 days before. Um, but it's just, yeah, 15 I know, 15 I kind of but don't know. So for me, that's so important to not know the full one because we all know what happened when Rey Mysterio came out at number 30, like, was it 10 years ago or something like that? And the whole crowd just dropped flat and half the people started walking out. I was like, no, I was expecting someone else here. Um, but yeah, not knowing is important because I'm literally gonna have 4 cans of cider, a giant pizza in front of me, and I'm gonna be popping for every single number that counts down because that's the magic of the Rumble. Like,
There,
it's one of my, it's possibly my favorite time of the year is Rumble year because it's just this constant countdown of, I don't know what's coming next. I haven't a clue.
I do think that there is a positive to be found in this year as well, and that
Mhm.
is social media has been the scourge of the wrestling surprise
Yeah.
because you have people constantly monitoring the building and the goddamn airport.
mm.
Like we've had Rumble surprises room before by fans being like, "Oh, look, we just
Yeah.
arrived in town," and
Yeah.
it takes away from it. Whereas
Roman
in
Reigns' hand, for
Saudi,
example, being photoed on the motorway.
yeah, but in Saudi there is not going to be nearly as much of that. which
No,
means they have
no, there's not.
potential,
Thank God.
ironically, given that they're traveling thousands of miles, they have the opportunity to pull off some seriously big surprises if
Yeah,
they so choose.
yeah,
Yeah, I like the idea that like in order to kind of like the high like Rumble pops are gonna have to put the shows in more remote places on the planet, just to stop people from posting
Royal
about it. It's
Rumble
like
50 on the moon.
yeah, I was about to say is like the first ever Antarctic Rumble, where
Oh, okay, all right. Now you're talking. If global
yeah,
warming goes the way it
I was,
goes, it
I was
might be
about to
just
say
a.
give it a couple of years of global warming, we might get there in the end. But no, I kind of see that point in the sense of like obviously it's almost like you kind of need people to play along a little bit and like just like if you like I know like at the height of the indie wrestling kind of scene before the pandemic, like everyone used to like fly into a town because there always used to be a convention around
Yeah,
Rumble season or all the
yeah,
local shows would put on people and like one person be booked here, one person be booked there, and you're almost like chalking them off like in the like a suspects list, going, okay, it's not Dolph Ziggler this year, he's booked in PWG. It's not this, it's not that, and you're eventually just like going down the list until you find somebody that fits the bill. And
yeah,
even then, sometimes it's all a misdirect. And I think like WWE almost like are trying to take pride in misdirects lately, mainly just to amuse themselves, if anything else, because ultimately it's just a game between themselves and their fan base. But even then, the fan base is different now because of the kind of the Netflix
yeah,
approach. So like, there's still gonna be people that are actively watching the Rumble for the sake of the Rumble. Um, but it's also that kind of aspect of like I'm even trying to think of like last year as a reference point where they tried to make it more like an ESPN kind of thing with the stats and the numbers in between. It's like it's different. I don't know if I'm married to it just yet. It kind of makes it seem a little bit like kind of like it's all very college football-y for me, whereas I'm kind of like in the kind of purest heart of saying like I would like to just see a rumble for the sake of a rumble, rather than just saying like, oh, and here's all the numbers to come down. It's like I don't give it like you make the numbers. This is not a quirk of stats. You've written the
yeah,
fucking stats. Like it's
Yeah.
it's it's
yeah.
lads. I think we have to tell WWE that wrestling is a bit fake. So like you don't have to do these kind of stats. It's
To be
hilarious.
fair, for probably about 10 years now,
Yeah.
they've been doing the by the numbers videos,
Which I love.
and
I
they're
love them.
great.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
are fun.
yeah. It's it's
Like,
it's like they've seen all the patterns that have merged from like basically 30 years of completely amorphous booking has now given themselves a fantastic stats page. It is literally like it's like it's hilarious thing in that sense. And I suppose to keep the conversation going, like what if you were to pick a rumble that is immediately your reference point for like the best rumble or a perfect rumble, what's the first thing that's kind of coming into your mind in terms of like and again, let's not go with years here. Let's go like if winners is more appropriate, then we might go with that instead. Because I know the pandemic has ruined our chronology a little bit here in terms of like what years it's good. What years it young man. Um, a lot of people point for me. The first one that comes to mind is the Undertaker Rumble, which I think is 2007, if I'm not mistaken. And I think a lot of that for me, and I kind of go back to our point about like what does a rumble actually need? For me, I think like a finishing sequence, like a final act, I think is massive for a rumble, because the rumble has this kind of great luxury of being able to do both. It can have a really sudden ending, or it can have a long, drawn out melodrama, and both of them are perfectly valid. Like I think was it last year or the year before? Basically, the winner was basically just like and three people are out, and the person remaining is a winner. I think it could have been the women's rumble. I'm thinking of that might have had that
Yeah,
finish
yeah,
last year. And then I'm thinking the one before that, or a couple of years beforehand, which was really underrated, was Nakamura's Rumble win, whereas him against him and Roman,
yeah.
and that was drawn out for ten
Yeah.
minutes.
They dropped the ball with Nakamura. We won't go into it here, but
Yeah.
I love Nakamura to death, but they really like just I don't
now,
know.
Yeah.
if reports are to be believed, there's some personal responsibility there too.
Yes.
I'm not
Some
saying
people
there
are
isn't.
happy to
Yeah,
just like, and he's earned that. I don't think he should be going out breaking his neck like he did 10, 15 years ago.
Mm.
I'm happy for the dude to go surfing and show up from time to time
I
if
mean,
that's
well,
what he wants to do.
yeah. So Jamie, what would you if you were to pick a perfect rumble? What's first in your mind?
Of course, saying character, it's a controversial one
Mm.
because I genuinely think possibly, at least one of my favorites for how it was booked start to finish and told a complete story. 2004 with
Yeah, yeah.
Redacted going 1 to 30, and even the
Mm.
way like Big Show dominating the finish and
Yeah.
surely this can't be a thing and the headlock out.
Do we still have to say that though? I mean, as long as we say the character and not the person, as a wrestling personality.
Well, in fairness, the
I
character and the
mean,
person are the same name, so it's kind of hard to. I
yeah,
think
I
we know who we're
suppose
talking about
I'm
here. In
true.
sticking to
fairness, yeah,
Yeah,
Redacted,
yeah,
but I'm complimenting how it was
yeah.
booked.
yeah.
Um,
But,
no, that was a phenomenal rumble. I have to say, I
oh,
really did enjoy that.
I do also have to put up there 92
Flair's Rumble.
because, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
And a
fantastic one.
large part of that is because, again, from start to finish, Rick was there and they faced him off against all of his biggest rivals from the last 10 years that were in the
yeah,
company
that's
at the
true.
time,
That was true. Yeah,
one by one, until eventually he wins it. And
Yeah.
like that's just solid storytelling.
I have often
well,
seen that site to be the best Royal Rumble, and again, after doing a little, I always had a little tradition of like watching all the Rumbles onto the run over the next one a couple of years ago.
I am close to finishing. I'm finishing
Yeah.
tomorrow, I
And
think.
19 that Flair Rumble always sticks out in my mind, not just for the match
Yeah,
itself. It's like
yeah,
the first match where the Rumble finally started making a little bit of sense. Because like the
yeah,
ones
Yes.
beforehand, it was a little bit like it was just a big battle royal. There was no kind of stakes to it in a
Yeah.
sense. Whereas this one kind of felt like there's an actual legitimate story to it. There was a reason for this match to be, and
yeah,
it was such a great platform for Ric Flair. Because again, there was a whole that shtick about like I'm the real world champion. This WWE championship thing is just a trinket type of stuff. And finally, you've just got to get you've given like the perfect heel heat to and vindicated the biggest villain on the
yeah,
on the roster by saying, "Now do you believe me? I have literally beaten everyone here. Now do you?" And
yeah,
the promo before, afterwards is fucking tremendous. It's just, it's a pure Ric Flair moment. It's a
yeah,
crystallized Ric Flair promo where I've proven all of you fuckers wrong, and I'm still
yeah,
breathing. I'm still good enough to get to shout at you for 10 more minutes. No one can get to my level type of
yeah,
thing. Fantastic
yeah.
rumble, fantastic
The
rumble.
worst, the worst thing about that was we never got Flair Hogan at Mania, and that was the
Yeah.
worst part of that outcome. Like you wanted to get Flair versus Hogan at Mania. Of course, you did. Everyone wanted it, and
Hmm.
it's still debated to this day as to why it never happened.
You can probably give one educated guess as to why, but
Either they both didn't want to go over in each other, or
yeah, I think
pretty
I think you
much.
nailed it there,
Oh,
really.
so recently enough, I was actually reading old dirt sheets, and at the time it was reported that in and around the Rumble, January, February, they ran house shows and ran Hogan versus Flair, ending in a no contest, and it was awful. And apparently it scared the shit out of them. So they were like, "Oh, these two
Okay,
characters don't match. He
that
gets
would
heat
that
this way, he hooks up
that
this
would
way.
make
They don't
sense.
gel. Put something
Yeah.
else on." But
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Now that you put it like that, because even in WCW when they ran it, like it wasn't brilliant.
no,
But
Yeah, and there would have been allowances there about like the fact that like the two both of them are well and truly past their prime as well. So it's the kind of thing where like you've seen the actual like proof that maybe this isn't as cut up as what it is, but then you also have this kind of like veil
yeah,
of like it would have been better 10 years ago when my perfect vision for this match would have worked. As I know these characters. What about yourself, Dave? Have you got what's your favorite rumble? What kind of like gets you in the mood for the season?
my favorite run was probably '98. I loved
yes,
the story of, everyone against Austin. Everyone was waiting for the buzzer. Everyone in the ring kind of waited till zero, then looked and kind of, is it Austin? No, right, back to business.
Mm,
And the finish that kind of kicked off the Austin Rock rivalry with the two of them in the ring in the end, and Mike Tyson being up there, like, camera cutting to Tyson, he's having a blast, enjoying himself, and
mm.
that was kind of 1998. I'm a bit biased because '98 is my favorite year in wrestling ever. Um,
I agree.
I just loved every second of it. Um, but that Rumble, just yeah, WrestleMania 14 is my favorite WrestleMania of all time. The Rumble is my favorite of all time. So that year is just I absolutely love it.
Indeed.
I concur.
I'll
And
actually answer that
let's
question.
not forget Royal Rumble '98, Three Faces of Foley.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
boy, go,
And
go.
you
Oh,
and
yeah,
you had
yeah,
Undertaker. You had Undertaker sat on fire in a casket as well. So there is that.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It was a bit. It was a busy night for all of us. It has to be said. Like, yeah.
you know.
Uh,
Um,
Fun fact: there was actually a fourth face of Foley, but he was the stunt double in the casket. But no one knew that until now. Uh, actually, this is a kind of broad question, but maybe like we can have a discussion about it. Like, if a rumble is going well and it's going and is having that kind of like it's getting to a stage where it's bubbling across really, really nicely and it has a nice kind of pace to it. Everything's been booked well so far, but the person that wins it kind of like it's not the person you expected, or it's a bit left field, or it's a bit kind of a letdown. How much do you think that affects the Rumble in terms of its kind of like importance or significance? Because I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I'm thinking of the Rumble that Randy Orton won the most recent time he did,
yeah.
which I think
Yeah.
it was 2013, 14. I can't
Yeah.
remember. But it was the one where like you would have had a couple of other people
Yeah.
in the region, so it would have been like Lesnar or Taker, but whoever else is in that kind of ballpark. And Orton is like the least expected of those final four.
Yeah.
And for me, it was the kind of like where like this Rumble was like obviously very top heavy with stars, and that's the kind of way they wanted it. So it was to kind of make it seem
Yeah.
like okay, someone is gonna win this Rumble. You just don't know who, and like the
Exactly.
person you least expected was ended up being Orton, but
Yeah.
like
And I mean,
so.
we all remember Blutista. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's you know what, that's like actually a great example as well. Is the fact that like that Rumble you mentioned earlier on with Mysterio being number 30. We know who won that, and we know what that kind of it precipitated to that main event. But that's
yeah.
not like the main event was great
Yeah.
for us because I kind of felt like that us like kind of
Yeah.
relinquishing or like getting that kind of relinquishing control from WWE. But it's not what they wanted to do. They wanted to run Batista around the Orton, and everyone was
Yeah.
going to have to sit in their hands and like politely applaud this like evolution circle jerk. And it didn't happen
Yeah.
that way, obviously.
Oh, again, just to throw it out there, Batista Randy Orton 1-on-1 never happened on pay-per-view.
No.
It is in
No.
fact a dream match that never happened.
And
And I
it's
still
mental.
don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
He's got to come in looking like Marge Simpson with
Yeah.
his big pearly necklace on, and he's going to be half the weight, and it's going to be like, oh, right, okay. Well,
Yeah.
no, you need to like, no, get beefy again. Be beefy.
Yeah, I think at the very least I can respect Dave Batista for knowing that like his race is run and he's not like like
Yeah.
some ex-wrestlers who just keep clinging on to the idea that maybe they've got a little
D-
bit of sway, a little bit of pull.
I'll tell you what I am looking forward to in this Rumble, Jonathan, is the pop that the mega jacked Chad Gable is going to get because he looks like Brock fucking Lesnar
That's it.
at the
You,
minute.
you, you reckon we got a Chad Gable sighting coming on for this?
I hope so because
Yeah.
on his Instagram, if you watch that video, the guy is like dangerously, unhealthily jacked.
He's reaches so are we can we formally call him Perk Gable then? Are we in
Yeah,
that era
yeah,
that
oh yeah.
yeah
Like this guy. Oh my god! If
we're
I'll try
reaching
and find the
teenage
Instagram
levels here,
reel.
yeah.
I I would
My lord,
expect I would expect himself and El Gran Americano will have a bit of a
please,
run in.
please, yeah. I would love the Spider-Man meme of the two of them coming out and pointing at each other. I'm sorry, that would make it for me. Like, oh, who's the real El Grande? You know what I
Mm.
mean? Loser gets
Oh,
unmasked type of thing, and then the unmasked Kaiser, and then Chad Gable says
I'd like to
El
think the
Grande.
winner gets unmasked and the loser has to keep it. Surely that's the other way around.
But I
Um,
hope I hope that they do that because that would add a little bit of humor and a little bit of comedy to the shows. Because if it was a case of, you could put up the old school Bandit poster, wanted dead or alive, who was the real Americano type of stuff.
that'd be good.
Um,
Yeah.
well, I
you
suppose
know,
part of the fun of the thing is going to be that Gable's going to have to at least outwardly pretend he was never El Gran
never.
Americano.
Yeah.
That was his whole argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does on it when he comes back. But they definitely have to run back that angle to put some closure into it. You can't just say he wasn't everyone because that was supposed to be the angle at the end of the day before he got injured.
Yeah, this is very
Yeah,
true. Yeah. So there's still always time. I suppose like again, much of this kind of conversation about kind of surprises or rumbles, like if we mentioned a couple of surprises already, is um like I know most surprises normally add to a rumble, but I think there's also surprises that tend to take away from a rumble as well because they're kind of a bit overbearing. Like, I, is it really a surprise to say that like Daniel Bryan wasn't in the rumble that one time for Rey Mysterio because like like I've noticed that like they were doing this kind of thing where like in some years they'd have people who were on the card featuring the Rumble as well. Normally when it suits the
Yeah.
Yeah,
plot, basically.
yeah,
But now they've been very, very rigid in saying, okay,
yeah.
whoever is booked on the match isn't in the Rumble. They are now separate things. And I felt like that year with Daniel Bryan was a very much a case of like, well, no, this has always been the way. Like whoever, like he was wrestling earlier in the card. Of course, he wouldn't be in the Rumble. It was like, but last
Yeah.
year you had fucking Cena show up and he was grand and he won the whole thing. Blah blah blah.
And you've had people lose title matches earlier in the night and go on to appear in the Rumble as well. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like it
mm,
again. It's everyone. They shift the goalposts to suit like, but like
yeah,
I don't think myself like I like there's always these kind of like the famous one I'm thinking of, the surprise that is the lettest of balloons was Haku 2001. Um because wasn't there like there was loads of stuff going on about at the time where like because I think was he 29 or 30 at that moment. And like
Yeah.
again this would have been the height of like like the shit hitting the fan in WCW and like let's just say there's a talent pool in ECW you could poach at any given time, and this would be the perfect time to say, so it's Taz, or it's oh fuck, it's Mike Awesome type of thing.
yeah.
That's the
No,
thing, and like everyone's going like,
Haku.
who's number 30 in this, the most like the most like enigmatic of all rumbles, and it's Haku. And when I say there's like when there's crickets in the crowd, there is like not only
Yeah.
crickets but people
Okay.
frantically trying to
It's
invent smart
because
codes to
it's
Google.
because
As
the
ever.
gimmick was different to WCW completely. Like,
Yeah.
Well, okay. Okay. No, so I actually popped for the Haku thing because
Did you?
that was. I remember watching the 2001 Royal Rumble, loved it. He was the WCW hardcore champion at the time.
Yeah.
yeah,
He'd been on Thunder that Thursday
yeah,
and
yep,
then was in the Rumble.
yep,
Like
yep,
that was legit shocking.
yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
the main character for me was so good. I loved Meng in WCW because they build him as just this guy who didn't give a shit and went around beating the crap out of people. And that was a gimmick. I was
Yep.
like, yeah, do you know what? If I could do that, I would bloody do it, but I can't, so I have to live through Meng. You know
Like
what I
I've actually seen, I think it was Eric Bischoff said that basically they had nothing for Haku after like 95, but
Yeah,
everyone was too scared to fire him.
yeah,
That is
exactly.
tremendous.
How could you not love that man? And it really annoys me that he didn't get the pop, but I understand why, because like if you're a Fed guy and you never watched WCW, you're not gonna know who the hell this guy is, really.
Yeah. I
You
think what
know?
makes it what
I'm
really
sure the
sold it for
new
me
Fed man.
was the commentary where like Jim Ross is going, "Oh, it's Haku," and then frantic looks for his notes, like, "Oh yeah,
Is
it's
that what we're calling
Haku."
That's gotta be Haku.
um, I thought like,
The now on the subject though of lead balloon entrance, I'm going to take it to Dave's favorite Rumble. And to be fair, fucking love '98. Um, surprise entrant, the Honky Tonk Man.
Punk man, yeah.
oh,
They
And
kept
no
shoving
one was
him
there
in.
for
No,
it.
nobody cared because they were in the
Yep.
Attitude Era.
No, but he literally just been there 6 months beforehand as Billy Gunn's manager before he went on to be in the Outlaws. And they got rid of him so they could set up the Outlaws because he was dog shit and nobody liked him anymore. So then when it came to Rumble time, they threw him in anyway.
Yep.
um,
Just to say, this is why you're irrelevant now. Go.
yeah,
Yep.
You know,
exactly.
like
Yeah.
if you go back and look at Honky Tonk's Intercontinental title rail or title reign, you'll understand like how nobody gives a shit about it. Every match was probably under 5 minutes, and all of them ended in a no contest.
Yeah.
In the work rate heavy era of late 80s WWF. Like,
Not
You know,
quite the mid card there. He's propping up the mid card there with his one solitary guitar. I've also just realized
alcoholism is a thing, children.
it is, yeah. I would also say like when we're talking about like lead balloons, like I realized I made myself forget about the 2012 Royal Rumble. Um, I think
There's reasons. There's reasons.
that
It's okay.
when the three commentators rock up into the Rumble,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
like you forget how bad the content was for those couple of
Yeah, it
years.
But
was
It was
kind of
they
just they just
extended that.
stood up. You know,
yeah.
they just
Yeah, they extended that to 40 entrants and then
yeah.
sort of they were like, right, all of the Nexus and all of the core and the commentators. And was like they barely had
Like, how
20.
was the cameraman not involved? You know, Stu the cameraman. Just put your camera on the ground there. We'll get another angle. Yeah, that was bad. I mean,
Although that was
I
25 results for the year of the surprisingly big pop for Nash, was it not? Or was that 2011? To
2011, I think
return
it
of
was. Yeah,
Diesel.
and then there was the year before, I
Ah,
think.
fair
Yeah,
enough.
because he comes out in full diesel gear, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Like
yeah,
he'd
the
be,
theme
Yes,
song hit and
yes.
everyone was like, "Oh, the
yeah.
nostalgia's here."
But like again, a lot of it was the pop just for the entrance music in a sense, as opposed to
Yeah,
like Rockhouse coming out.
Mm.
But that's a totally different story. Um, Another one that always gets cited is Drew Carey, but I think that kind of like that was like a little bit of like levity and like in a rumble that like had a lot more important shit going on. Like
yeah.
that just
Yeah.
seemed like a completely redundant piece, and I think that happens
It's
sometimes.
because I think it's because like they needed someone to replace Pete Rose. They kind of
Yeah,
made the right choice.
The beauty
You
of
think
the
about
Drew
it?
Carey thing was that they had, and I think Pete Rose actually showed up at that Mania 17, didn't he? But the beauty of the Drew Carey thing was they made people feel better about him being in by on the show saying he was replacing either D'Lo Brown or Headbanger Mosh.
Yeah,
The people didn't feel like they lost out on anything. It was just like, oh, okay, that's fine.
there's
I love that they had
one
to
D'Lo Brown
ratify
fan
that
that's now going,
statement. Like,
oh.
yeah, it's like he's not replacing the people you love, just the filler bits. So you're okay.
It would
One
be.
half of tag teams is okay.
I can imagine there was just like one wrestling fan in that kind of Venn diagram of people who love D'Lo Brown but also loves
Yeah.
Whose Line Is It Anyway and trying to pick between his babies. Like that would
Not to go
be
off on a
Wearing
tangent,
a
not to go off
homemade
on
lowdown t-shirt.
that's
a,
it. Yeah.
not to go off on a tangent here, but who's pissed off at constantly seeing just one half of the tag team champions the last 3 or 4 rows? It's just Jey Uso with one tag belt.
Jimmy is on paternity leave,
Yeah.
which I'm kind of
Really?
cool with.
Yeah. I'm actually like
Well,
I kind of
it's not publicized that they've had a baby, so I don't know when it's popped or if it's popped or whatever.
yeah, it's
I
they're
believe
keeping it very
so.
on the wraps, but like I think there's kind of an inference that like it's not exactly like seamless. So I think there's been stuff going
Oh, okay then. I
on the road,
retract
yeah.
my
So
previous statement.
yeah, but it also explains why like they haven't exactly been doing like in a way like Jey Uso's kind of back to Rumble mode as opposed to being like kind of like tag team mode, which kind of like
Mm.
it kind of
Yeah,
tracks. Again, he is the defending
But
winner, like Rumble winner in a sense. So
just broadly speaking, and regardless of company, if real like shit is going on with the wrestlers, yeah,
yeah.
go.
Let him have it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, which
Like,
I think is fair. I think it's fair. And again,
Unless you're Vince, when you have like your wife giving birth, and Vince tells you no, you need to be on Monday Night Raw. Was that
see,
one
that's
of
not
was
right.
that
Like,
Alpha? Was that
yeah,
Alpha or Sika that happened to one of the Wild Samoans? He was fired because he went to the birth of his son or something.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, but that's yeah.
just,
Uh, Funny enough, actually, yeah.
that's
Like the
ironic. If that was Sika and the kid was Roman Reigns,
oh, that's a butterfly effect and a half.
jeez.
How, how's that for it? Wow, Jesus,
There you go.
that's a thought and a half. Fucking hell. Um,
Dig deep on
yeah,
your own time into that one, folks.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, give us a lowdown on that. But actually, like I kind of the thought kind of comes across to myself as well. It's like, is there anyone that is in the top of our head of I'm thinking of like almost like there's like a Mandela effect quality of like someone who you feel like has won a Rumble but never did, because I think there's always someone in the kind of ether thinking like they probably should have had one at the very least, but like I think it's also the case where like I feel like The Rock should have won more, but I think The Rock was always like in a position where he wouldn't be in a Rumble if that makes sense. Or same with Triple
Yeah,
H.
he was.
Triple
Yeah,
H was never
The
in a
Rock
Rumble.
technically never won any.
That's true.
Big Show had video to prove it.
Of course, VAR
yeah.
never existed in that time, so unfortunately, we'll never know. But like, it seems like a couple where like when you kind of see look down the winners, and you think like like Kurt Angle never winning a Rumble seems strange to me.
That's a big one. That's a
Yeah.
very strange one because he would have been the ultimate heel winner in '99, if not for, well, not '99, but 2000 would have been an absolute. You could have had a riot outside the arena, but in a good way. Like the ultimate, that would have made him the
Hmm.
best heel ever up
Yeah.
until that point. If he have him win the 2000 Rumble,
Yeah.
Um, I think like even like it, or even the fact that it took like so long for like the Undertaker to win a Rumble, where you feel like he
that's
like
weird.
old school
Yeah,
Undertaker would have been the perfect like like
Yeah, that's
I
strange
Android
suppose
actually.
Rumble type of aspect, you know?
part of the issue with giving Taker a Rumble is they
No
started
streak.
that rule in '94,
That's true.
but
Yeah.
he had other things going on. He didn't need to be in the title scene.
But
Yeah,
that's
fair,
also a good
fair.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. Like, it's a lot of it's down to like if you actually have something going for yourself at that time, and
Mm.
I suppose like depending on what kind of era you're talking about, there's certain kind of like Berlin walls between the main event and the
Mm,
mid card. Whereas like in a way, like the Rumble is not where the mid carder becomes a main eventer. It's where the main eventer
yeah,
like basically tells the world that they're going to be in the
yeah.
main
I mean,
event.
Eddie Guerrero never won one.
No, again, he would have been one as well. Are we thinking like, oh, I could see that. I could see him doing
Yeah,
something
Mhm.
sneaky or whatever, or
CM
being a little
Punk.
bit creative with it. Yeah, yeah, Punk
yeah.
actually.
CM
Yeah,
CM
Punk,
Punk
good
yeah,
never won.
shout.
yeah, um,
Yeah. The
yeah.
Rock is
It's
noted as winning the 2000 Rumble, though. That's
yeah.
shocking.
Yeah, they did a fatal four-way though.
Mm.
We
But
don't want to talk about that one.
no. But and there's always that kind of conceit as well. Like it's like I know that we have there's a lot of tropes in these kind of rumbles, but like the fact that like it's always the biggest guy never wins the rumble. I think like I think the tallest person who won the rumble is probably Big John Studd, which is hilarious
Yeah,
because like that's the
yeah.
most logical winner you could have. But like the Great Khali, Nia Jax, Big Show, they are not multiple winners of the rumble. They're always the most obvious targets, like which is always
Yeah, but they're always the result of the mob effect, isn't that right?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely
oh, he's
yeah.
coming
They're
in.
always the
it makes
All of
yeah
us are
perfect sense.
gonna.
yeah
It
Yeah,
makes perfect kayfabe sense because yeah, the biggest would obviously win. We saw it the
yeah.
first time they did one with Big John Studd. So now everyone is like, "Well, I can't do it alone. Let's lump in, lads." It's
So literally,
good
if you were
Didn't
storytelling.
of
Fr-
average
didn't
height and average
didn't
build, you are the perfect person to
yeah.
win the Royal Rumble. You just blend
Big
in
John
perfectly.
Studd was eliminated by an NFL player in a battle royal at WrestleMania, wasn't it? It wasn't the Royal Rumble. I remember
Yeah,
the fridge.
WrestleMania 2
That was right. Yeah.
Yeah, the fridge
with
was
all the
like
football players. Yeah,
Hmm.
eliminated Big John Studd, and you realize you see how big he actually is when he outshadows the NFL players. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Actually,
Man was able to square up to Andre,
yeah,
which
and slammed Andre in the past, of course, as we all
mhm.
remember. Yeah.
better than
Um.
Hogan did.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I suppose Andre was in better nick at that point as well. To be fair to him.
That's true. That's true.
Um. But I suppose, like, actually, it must be a very good question. This is one for the room as well, because I genuinely don't know the answer to this question. Like, we've always like Shawn Michaels is kind of often attributed the nickname of kind of Mr. WrestleMania. I wonder, do we have a Mr. Royal Rumble?
I think we've
Shawn
had a
Michaels,
couple.
Stone Cold.
There's a few candidates, well, as in like someone who's like once they're in a Rumble, like I'm thinking like the longevity of being in a Rumble, not necessarily maybe winning it, but certainly having the best performances. So like
Probably
Kofi,
Rey Mysterio over the years, I'd say, has always been given a long run in the Rumble.
I suppose, which is fair, but I
Kofi,
suppose for the fact that like people you tie to the Rumble, Kofi,
yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
his safe spots are very much his thing. Yeah,
yeah, true, true.
it's kind of his proverbial legacy in a sense, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I
Like
mean, he was a world
and
champion.
true. And I suppose I'm kind of veering away from what maybe or into what may be a later conversation of the undercard,
mm.
but a strong contender for Mr. Royal Rumble, Kevin Owens. The man's had a
Oh,
Yeah.
shocking amount of world title matches at the Rumble.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a fair shout actually. Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
you're right there.
But
Yeah,
yeah, that's also that's also a great example of someone where like he's never in the Rumble because he's always doing something. Like Bray Wyatt was
Yeah.
rarely in the Rumble because he was always the kind of like the pretender to the throne for January. He was always the kind of the token.
yeah.
Daniel Bryan is a great example of that himself. Like he'd often have like a title match, he'd lose and then move on type of thing. It's always like those kind of like little, maybe not Bryan in particular, but always the kind of the pantomime mid card villain never gets a Rumble go because he's always in a title match. Um, but yeah, that's an interesting one. Like I think Kofi Kingston actually is a very good shout for that as well. Just as I said, mainly because like he in the very most recent time, he really kind of like tapped into like, okay, like you can clip what Kofi Kingston does here, this one spot,
Yeah.
and just keep going, and he just build it up now to the extent that like as Dave said at the top of the show, like someone now has to do the Kofi Kingston bit. You know, like if it
Yeah.
wasn't him, it's John Morrison doing the parkour, or sure Logan Paul did one last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think didn't he?
I think they're
Or
going to have to count on Logan Paul because obviously Javon Evans is injured.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
So
that's a choice to have to pick it to rely on him. But here we are. This is
he's not winning it. So at least they can rely on him to do that. You know what I mean?
this is very
Tracy
true.
Catanzaro had been doing them in the women's rumbles,
I was
but they
about to
got
say,
rid of her
yeah,
too.
she was doing on
Bringing her
that for a
Ninja
while.
Warrior skills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and very good at it too. In fairness, like it was again, it was the same thing where like I think the difference with her was that was literally the only thing she was allowed to do in that sense because like
Yeah.
she was on like the Mariah Carey of Royal Rumbles. She just show up for that month, get into the Rumble, do her spot, and then like never be seen for like 8 months. Like
Yep.
it's very very strange stuff here. And I suppose we kind of like we've lampposted here a little bit, so let's kind of like we'll stop talking the hypotheticals and start getting stuck into this Rumble. Obviously it's in Riyadh, it's in Saudi Arabia. It's at a very sociable time for us Europeans here. If anyone from America is watching along, nah 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 nah. Um,
You get it all year. Let us have it at least this couple of times.
exactly, yeah. Look at you having to watch the Rumble in broad daylight, you shits. Um, now you know how it feels, or us leaving a bar at 4 a.m. to go home to sleep. But I suppose like was where I start with like which one of the rumbles is intriguing you the most generally in terms of like obviously I think it's fair to say both of them are kind of a relatively open field. I don't think the
The
WWF shows
women's
are
more
had.
for me.
You
The
think? Yeah, I
women's,
think so too.
I cannot put a winner on it unless Bianca Belair comes out and is a surprise entrant. Only then will I say, okay, maybe I think she's
Yeah.
going to win it. But other than that, I'm kind of stuck between maybe 5 or 6 different choices. I really don't know.
Mm,
I think what the Royal Rumble benefits from, and it's arguably a bad creative decision, but the Royal Rumble does and has for 20 plus years benefited from is having the two world titles.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, because
there's
then you have
never
Chamber, don't you?
just one because, but there's always like, right, well, if it's a Raw person winning, it's going to be this person. If it's a SmackDown person winning, it's going to be this person. But like most years, there is at least two very viable candidates.
Yeah.
Mm. So you
I mean,
almost like look at what the
yeah.
pair ups are going to be going into the
Yeah.
main mania. Yeah, that's interesting. So, and I actually that's a good point. Does that paint your kind of view of who you think who should win the Rumble based on the champion that's there already, or do you use kind of like
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
with Bianca Belair, it'd be the Cargill rivalry that she
Oh yeah.
left when she got injured. That is the
mm,
kind of like safe choice to make. But then you have, the likes of Tiffany Stratton. Will she come back at the Rumble? She's in the poster for Chamber. So if she's a surprise, there's another rivalry of I'm back to get my title back.
mm,
I was injured when I lost it. Now I'm coming back to get that back. So I don't know. There's so many narratives which I love that this or this Rumble can give us. That I'm trying not to think about the obvious at the moment. Like I want to just enjoy this Rumble for what it is.
yeah,
I'm trying not to get sucked into the obvious narratives, just ruin it for myself. The whole, oh, Roman is going to win, which I hope to God he fucking doesn't. Um, you know, who knows? Who knows? I'd love Finn to win. And that's not just my biased opinion. I think we're going to get Finn versus Dom at Mania, Demon versus
I,
Dirty Dom, maybe. I don't know for
mm,
the IC title. I don't know.
I don't think Finn is going to be in the Rumble.
Don't do that to
I
me,
think
Jamie.
I think he's going to be in the title match with Punk. I think they're
mm.
going to do Finn versus Punk at the Rumble.
I think you're like
How?
well they have done
Oh,
the segment on Raw saying that there's basically no spots left in the Rumble. So unless they're doing it like it depends on where they're going with the ballot character.
They
If they're
would they would
keeping
have
the
to announce that at some point. They can't just be like, well, there will have to be a title match, I would imagine, at the Rumble.
not
But
necessarily. They don't necessarily have
not
to have one.
necessarily.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the women's title is the following night on Raw, or the 2 days later on Raw. So,
Mm.
hmm,
I
interesting.
suppose. Hang on, Rumble this weekend.
It's this
Yeah,
weekend, yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking at the card here. So,
yeah. It's this Saturday,
yeah,
7 p.m. live on
yeah.
Netflix.
So what they
Fair
have at the
enough.
moment is Drew and Sammy for the WWE Championship, AJ Styles and Gunter, and then the two Rumbles. So there is space to do CM Punk
Uh,
Maybe,
if he wanted to.
maybe a
I
little
don't
bit of
know.
space. I don't think there is. One
Maybe.
hour
With the
each
late
for the
for a
Rumbles,
four-match
Yeah.
card, yeah.
half an hour each for the other two, maybe
Mm,
without ads. 20 minutes maybe for
yeah.
the other
It's
two.
it's 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 a tricky one.
A
So that's
tight
the
one.
same
It's a
thing.
tight card.
Yeah, it's a tight card. Yeah, especially if you want to give the Rumbles ample attention. So, and I think I think they're actually capped to a 3 hour time, aren't they? I think they're a bit like
Are they?
boxed. I think so. Yeah, I think they're
I
a bit
thought
of.
Netflix didn't have a time, although there
No, they
is
Yeah.
do. They do. No,
other
Netflix are more
networks.
stringent with time than they were on the network. With the network, they would have absolutely packed this out and done maybe one or two more matches and said, "Fuck it, it's our
I wonder
service."
why that is. I mean, it's a
I
streaming service with no time limits,
No,
surely.
I don't think that's down to time limits. I think that's down to Triple H's personal preferences.
That could be it. That could be
Because we
right.
What,
saw
four
no,
matches at every
yeah,
pay-per-view?
yeah.
Yeah,
He did it with Takeover for years, and then as soon as he took over on the main roster, the same thing happened.
yeah, that's a fair point.
Less
Yeah, has
matches,
Yeah,
fallen
more
around. Yeah.
advertising.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, in any case, so we were talking about the women's one here. Obviously, I think it's a relatively open field. For me, looking like on the outside looking in, again, not exactly watching the content week to week, but I can't really kind of presume anyone like surprises coming in that sense. But if I like Dave's logic in terms of Bianca kind of possibly popping up.
And I'd be
I
fine with that. If she won it, I'd be absolutely fine with that
yeah,
because we get that really, really, you know, redemption arc for her coming
yeah,
back and going against Jade. I'm all for that because she's the only one that can carry Jade in a title match at the minute. Because let's
definitely,
face
yeah.
it, nobody else. I don't know if anybody else wants to step in the ring with her, but she's the only one who can handle Jade and carry Jade and make Jade look good in a match.
Yeah, I think I think that's the way I'm looking at it as well. Is that like I think Jade is only as good as her dance partner in that respect, and I think if there's I
Absolutely.
think what Jade is very good at is having a feud with somebody that she can really
Yeah.
buy into. Like
Like her
obviously she's
eyes are
got
all on Hollywood at the minute. In my opinion, her eyes are on Hollywood. She's using WWE as a stepping stone,
and
in
look
my
if she
opinion, to Hollywood. And that's fine.
yeah.
But defend the fucking title every now and again. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. I think like I think for me like the what's really intriguing me at the moment in terms of dynamics and people that are actually actively trying to like platform into the Rumble because again I think everyone's been kind of given a relatively level field like last year, which also kind of helped with Charlotte coming back and then winning the Rumble. I don't know if they play that card twice in a row, 2 years in a row. They certainly might do. I don't know, but if I was someone who's active, let's say, and currently being on TV, the dynamic they're doing with Rhea and Io at the moment is quite interesting to me because they're doing a tag. Obviously, they're tag team champions, and or certainly they've been in that kind of realm anyway. And they've been doing this kind of like dynamic where like obviously they are a team and they're really leaning into that side of it, and where they're almost like two kind of like going into each other. But they are both going to be in this rumble, and I can genuinely see a permutation where they are the last two and that
Yeah,
dynamic changes to then now
I'm
becoming
waiting for the Rhea
competitors.
heel turn here. I'm definitely waiting on the Rhea heel turn, and I'm all for it, to be honest. I can't
Mm,
wait for that split between them, but you never know where it's going to happen. Could have happened
yeah,
here, or could have happened with the two of them in a chamber.
or
You
Mania
see,
itself. You don't know.
Who knows?
there is also the chance that that could be the title match at Mania
Yeah,
because
Yeah,
they did
yeah.
like it could be the women's titles on the line between the tag team champions.
yeah, and again
Does does
that
Raquel Rodriguez get that? She's another one that's potentially going to win the Rumble, by the way. Does Raquel get the title before Mania?
mm,
Because, in my opinion, she's been the most improved in the last year as
yeah.
far as women's wrestlers
I've
go.
seen a lot of people saying the same. Again, like we have all the members of the Judgment Day in here as well. There's nothing to say they can't do a bit of a nexus here as well if they wanted to. Maybe not between three people, but I don't know. They could probably hire Nia Jax for a day or something. I don't fucking know. But uh, like just spitballing here. But it's that kind of thing where like there is so much like variability, and I think that's what's gonna really make me enjoy the women's rumble. I loved the women's rumble
Yeah.
last year for the exact same reason. It was the fact that I don't know what to expect from here, and it was a lot of fun, and as well because there's always like less people announced for the match anyway. There's more surprises and more people in. Michelle McCool's gonna make the trip out to Saudi. She always does for the Rumble. She literally trains all year just for the fucking Rumble. I was like, Michelle, stop lying to yourself. Just go back and get a fucking
Yeah.
part-time contract for fuck's
Yeah.
sake. Like the kids
No
are grown.
one cared 20 years ago. No one cares now.
Yeah, we really don't. We don't give a shit.
But
You've already taken your husband's podcast. Don't take the Rumble too.
she's not going to win the thing, lads. Relax, it's fine. She might be number 27. That's about it.
Here,
Uh,
Undertaker's been shoehorning into every bloody thing you can possibly do. What's to say you can't go to Triple H and be like, "I'll tell Vince on you. You don't have her win the Rumble."
it'd make her feel really happy, and I want to make her feel really happy. It's like, yeah, sure, no problem, pal. Let me just just let me just scrap this entire 3-month program just for you, brother. You know.
I wouldn't be surprised
Uh,
with the leverage that asshole has it.
yeah, this is true. This is they do. There is quite a lot of sway there. Um, let's switch to the men's side now as well. I think because
For the
again they
record, I
both
also think that Bianca is going to win the women's.
you're going for Bianca for okay, that's fair. So okay, I think we're overall we're feeling Bianca then for the women's rumble.
Mm,
That's not a bad shout at all, and I think we'll make her a two-time winner as well, if I'm not mistaken. First time
hmm
double winner,
I believe so.
or the Charlotte no
First
Charlotte's
women's
been twice,
first.
isn't he?
I think during that really frustrating run for the fans, I think she might have. Hang on.
Mm,
I remember
yeah,
everyone's like, "Oh, not her again." Even though
yeah,
now her face character now is absolutely fantastic. I
yeah.
love the way what she's doing right now.
Indeed. Um, but yeah, so we'll move to the men's side now as well. So what's interesting is as well, and maybe this is kind of a precursor of things to come. Um, the one name from the names that have been announced so far for the Rumble that's screaming out to me is Gunter, considering that he could very well have retired AJ Styles before he enters his Rumble as well. And I think to myself, they're surely not gonna
Mm,
do they're not gonna do a double jeopardy with Gunter here, men's Rumble win and retiring AJ on the same night. That seems a bit much, isn't it?
I mean, they could. It's not out of realm of possibility that they very much could do a Gunther double.
Hmm.
You
That's
know, I think Triple H is quite high on the guy, even though he looks very awkward with that laugh. But hey ho.
no,
Um,
Gunther was always he like start of 2026. He would have been my out and out pick. That he
yeah,
was quintessentially the guy who was being framed for it. But I was convinced he was going on to face Cody, and then Cody lost the belt on SmackDown. So
Yeah, that's trying to put a curveball into things is having Drew essentially arriving into WrestleMania season as the champion, which I think there's obviously was a booking hole somewhere along the lines they were trying to get themselves out of because maybe they've been reading the tea leaves and they see that Cody Roman's not going to work again this year, or maybe Roman's not available. Who knows? I think he's down for the
never
match
say
anyway.
never.
Never say
There's a
never,
there's a
exactly.
there's a chance that Sammy could beat Drew at the Rumble. Cody could win it back at the Chamber, and
Mm.
Roman could win on Saturday.
Yeah, potentially. Like and again, it would be a great way to place to do it in the sense. Again, Sammy would have been my pick for the Rumble this year had he not been announced for the title. He would have been, and again, it would have been the exact same story. It would have
He
been
can still do it though. He could lose the title match and go on and go for the other title, maybe win the Rumble.
Yeah, possibly. It's hard to say. Again, I think it's one of those kind of relatively open fields as well. Again, it's a busy enough like people in it. Like we do have Lesnar, we have a Reigns, we have Cody. Like
Yeah.
I do
But
hope.
you have the Saudi sway, you have the state sponsored sway as well there though, because apparently they're pumping money in to have a bit of sway in what goes on. You
Mm,
know, in the events in Saudi Arabia, not the whole thing, but in the events in Saudi Arabia. Like,
yeah, yeah. I suppose like that. I don't know if that'll impact on like who wins the Rumble in a sense, but I would hope that like if it does, it's not going to be something that's going to really ruin the WrestleMania plans for them. Because if it is the kind of thing where like I want to see X person win, is like it can't really like
I mean,
that
they did
stuff's
it with
kind of
Jinder. They
they
gave Jinder the
they
belt to
had
go into the Indian market. So never
yeah,
say
but
never.
they had Jey Uso win the Royal Rumble last year. They can't do any worse.
yeah. But this is true. This is very true. I mean, I don't know how many other
WWE
catchphrases they have to
they've
weaponize.
also hired a Saudi heavyweight wrestler today,
I did
a
notice that,
wrestler
yeah, but
from Saudi Arabia.
his name was trademarked for a
Which
while, so this has been on the cards for quite a bit. Yeah.
So I have a feeling that's your next 8 year long Bruno Sammartino killing champion.
He's definitely gonna be in the Rumble anyway. I think that
oh yeah,
goes without saying. He'll be the local pop like Mansoor was a couple of years ago.
Oh
But
yeah,
Mansoor made great out of that. In fairness, like that was a great platform for him, and he's still going strong today. In fairness to him. But yeah, I suppose like out
I
of
think someone else who really should not be discounted as a potential winner of the Rumble, Braun Breaker.
I was just about to say Braun Breaker to be honest with you. Because again, it's one of those ones where like if you wanted the breakout winner, I think he's your guy. Like
he's the
absolutely.
one I wish they would, but you know they won't.
Yeah, potentially.
I hope they do.
Hmm. Yeah, I again I see where I see the reason there, but I think it's also the kind of thing where like where is the partnership going to be? Because of if it is Punk Breaker again for Mania, I don't particularly mind it, but it depends on what they're doing with Punk. For me, Punk Gunther I think is more lucrative for me because
Yeah.
there is a like we're going to be doing a segment later on called Top Graphs. Stay tuned for that, and Gunther's going to feature heavily in it. But for me, like I think like the world is gravitating around Gunter at the moment because he
Mm,
is like
fair.
this will for me if you're retiring people left, right, and center, that is a bigger run, if not like substantially bigger than what we've had with the Bloodline with Roman Reigns and previously. Like to be able to basically pick off the old guard one by one and essentially just like take them out
Yeah.
scorch the earth in that sense. Like, if we are living in a world where AJ Styles has been retired and Gunter is now heading to WrestleMania and CM Punk is next on his hit list,
Mm,
that's like that. There's an almost like Thanos style quality to that where I think that
mm.
that's actually a little bit irresistible. You know, especially if especially if Gunter has been given like a late number. If he's been given like number 27, that's it, done. Good night, everybody. We've finished here. We've locked it in, like Um, but again, much to Dave's point, that's what the Elimination Chamber is for as well. It is like to tidy up those little bit of loose ends a
Oh.
month later and
Could you
fill
imagine
in the
Breaker
other half of the
spearing
brackets.
everyone through the pods?
Yeah, I can see that. I can genuinely see him like starting off
You
the
know what I
match
mean?
and eliminating every person one by one and doing a Lesnar style. But again, it's the
Yeah.
same thing where is Gunter even going to be that like because I am also looking at the names on the list here and thinking like Jesus, do you know what? I'd love to see Gunter retire Brock Lesnar. Like that could be the next one on the list as
That's
well.
apparently that's apparently going to happen at SummerSlam in Minneapolis. Was leaked
Yeah.
by none other than John Cena.
Hmm. So again, there's a lot of things on the radar here, and again, if Gunter is now
Yeah.
essentially the Legend Slayer, because Legend Killer's being let's be fair, taken.
No, sorry,
Uh,
they've trademarked the career
Legend
killer,
Killer's on his
Jonathan.
list.
yeah,
Career killer.
yeah, he's on
They've
his list.
trademarked it.
You know,
Get it on a t-shirt.
I suppose in an ideal world is like who is the person you'd love to see make it to the WrestleMania main event? Is it someone on this list, or is it someone that like shall we say is not so far disclosed, like Bianca was for the Women's Rumble?
LA Knight.
Interesting. Interesting, because he has been much maligned as of late. He hasn't exactly been given much rubber to green lately.
His sign has been pictured above the Rumble stage. He has a massive yes sign above the Rumble stage. But there's also the return of Rusev. What are they going to
Hmm.
do with Rusev? They're apparently repackaging him. So what's he going to come out as? LA Knight's also getting not a repackage, but a redesign apparently, which is why he's been kept off television. So
Okay.
these two are coming back with two slightly different gimmicks. So I wonder what they're going to do with them two.
Okay.
Are they going to
Good
bring? Are
thought.
they going to bring the Soviet tank back? I don't know.
Maybe Saudi. I feel like those were nearly manufactured surprises, though.
Yeah,
Like I do think there's people who've
they're
been
too
kept off
easy.
TV
Yeah.
purely to be like, "Oh, they're here."
Oh, there it is.
Are we ignoring the Seth freaking Rollins in the room here?
Oh
Is
yeah, the
he
whole
someone that's
ESPN
also
leak. Yeah, because that
yeah.
helps.
Uh,
Yeah, so there's also that for too as well. Again, I feel like that one's a little bit too simple as well. That like that could have easily just be like Nick's with a little Superman punch in the ring and off he goes type of thing. Like,
It'd be nice to see Naomi back at the Rumble.
yeah, I don't think that's gonna. I think that's too soon. Unfortunately, that's
Hmm.
again like she's got other
yeah,
more important things gone at the moment. Um, but yeah, no, I think yeah, like it's. I do feel like we're onto something where like when they have such big names in the Rumble, it almost seems too obvious. Like I don't see Cody winning, I don't see Roman winning, I don't see Brock winning. So maybe it is going to be someone like Breaker to do it and make himself a bit of a run to WrestleMania, become the front man in this kind of like Heyman family faction. It's a never thought anyway. Just
Heyman and
one
family.
yeah,
one that I think would actually be or could be interesting would be Randy Orton. Give him one last
Mhm.
Rumble.
yeah, yeah. I can,
Put
I can.
him against Drew,
Mm,
where Cody is forced to be the sidekick.
Oh yes, please. We
no.
don't want Roman Cody 3. That's a guarantee. We do not want that.
I was
Um,
about to say, I think we've kind of ensured that we're not getting Cody Roman 3 unless it's going to be
bloody
double
hope
titles,
not.
which is what it is. But
Mm.
But yeah, that's it. That's an interesting thought. Again, Kevin Owens is also going to be around
Another,
there as well, isn't he? You know?
yes,
Yeah.
I was going to say.
I
Yeah.
Now,
don't know if he'll be back
reports,
this soon though.
yeah, reports this time last year were that he was going to be out for 2 years,
Yeah.
but we've seen this change dramatically in the past.
Yep. We've
And
had
He
I'm
this
has
assuming
been
he
conversation
hasn't
training.
before.
come back at all.
Hmm.
He's been training as well. He's been in the ring. He's been training. So we don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know.
If we are to see a Jericho presence, obviously it's going to be more of a pop than anything else. He's obviously not going to be a massive threat for WrestleMania generally. But is there someone you can expect to see Jericho being kind of paired up with feud wise? Is he it like if you were to kind of like say like dabble into the fantasy booking here, like what person could you give Chris Jericho like a feud with at this moment in time? Because
Okay.
it's not the same Chris
So
Jericho you
Can't.
had years ago.
I have been massively outspoken against wanting Chris Jericho to fucking retire to a cabin somewhere very quiet and far away and delete all his social media because he's ruining his legacy more and more by the day.
Yes,
But if he has to be there and he has to work with someone, LA Knight,
good
and
show.
use it to elevate LA Knight, where LA Knight dominates. He's the only one I
So
think that the
I
mic
did
work
a
could be.
I
Mm,
I did a YouTube short on this for another channel earlier on. And my problem with Chris Jericho is if Chris Jericho comes back for this Rumble, he's only there for the nostalgia pop and then he's gone. He's
agreed.
touring for the entirety of February. So he's not going to be on TV. So you can't put him in a program at the Rumble because what's the point? You're 6 weeks out from getting him back anyway.
Mm,
So he's not going to be seen till mid-March earliest. 2 weeks, 3 weeks out of Mania. Even then, are you really going to have time to put him in a program with something or somebody? I could see him coming back at the Rumble for a pop, that nostalgia pop, but that's it. They've
yeah.
obviously rumors are they've trademarked Judas, which is fine. He's used that theme for years. It'll piss off some of the Fed folks, but if he wants to come out to that, he wants to come out to that. It's his choice. But I think he'll be there for the nostalgia pop and nothing more. He won't get a program on anyone because literally, the next day he's away to tour, for a month.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Again, like it's impossible to know. Like, again, with a Saudi Rumble, I feel there's gonna be a lot of nostalgia pops. I'm not ruling out a fucking Undertaker appearance. I'm not ruling out anybody at this stage.
I
Like
mean, it plays into
yeah,
Jamie's happy narrative of Chris Jericho show up and fuck off. So
yeah,
Jamie would be happy to
I'd
go,
be
hey, how are you? Gone.
I'd
yeah.
be much happier if he just didn't. I don't need to see him again.
I know. You just
Just
want to sit
let
him
him
down and
go.
just yeah, exactly.
But do you
So
not
then,
think he deserves? Do you not think he deserves one last match in the WWE, given how long he was in the company?
Fucking no. Not
Do
even
we not get a Chris
slightly.
Jericho retirement tour?
no.
The length of time he's been in the company.
Huh?
He joined that company in August 1999 and he was gone by 2005. Came back 2007,
Nope.
lasted 2 years, was gone for a year. He's been in and out. Like he was never a consistent mainstay guy.
I mean, yeah, okay, he got fuzzy-fied for a while during his stint. But I mean, he did have the Kevin Owens friendship, but he also had the Shawn Michaels storyline, which
That was
was
good.
very, very good. I think
Yeah.
it was '08. Was that '08 or
Mm-hmm.
'09? I mean,
Right,
he
I
did
want
he
to say.
did some good things. The first ever undisputed champion.
And that was a fucking wonderful thing for his career. That was awful. He was the
Uh,
worst of the potential four.
As a-
But
yeah.
I because he will get a Hall of Fame nod. So if he's still able to, without looking, well, he does look like a crumpled beer can, but without the ability, if he has even the slightest ability to be in the ring, keep in mind Ricky Steamboat went in his 60s in the ring. Like
Ricky Steamboat is Ricky Steamboat. I
Yeah,
would take
exactly.
Ricky Steamboat in Saudi this weekend over fucking
I
Chris
wouldn't say
Jericho.
no to that,
don't
to be
rule it
honest.
out.
That'd
He's
be
recently been
fantastic.
in AEW. Don't rule it out.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say no to that at all. That'd be great.
He was involved in the storyline in AEW, so
Yeah.
we know he's still in the business. So that's not out of realm possibility.
No, that's not impossible at all. Yeah, I mean, fuck it. If we're going for outdoor shouts there, yeah, let's go with that. Let's get Ricky Steamboat back into let's get to NXT. Let's have
Let's
a
get him
Ricky
in
versus
there.
Ricky feud. Let's fucking go.
If they can get Booker T and Santino Morella in there for a second, surely Ricky deserves the pop to just get over the ropes and get
Yeah,
thrown
you're
out.
dead right. You're dead right. I wonder if
Okay,
anyone's
no.
going to go for the 1 second spot this year. Like if everyone's trying to once this year. Like I know Jordan did it last year, the year before. Chelsea Green had a go at it as well. Like there's someone's bound to have a pop at it.
Yeah.
Maxine Dupree's probably gonna have a go at it this year, I think.
I'm interested to see if Obafemi goes in there and just starts tossing people out.
He's my dark horse for the Rumble.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. He is the one I'm thinking like if you really
Wow.
wanted to go for a
Okay.
completely outside the pit, outside the
Shock
ring.
the world type of thing. Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
I would go for Obafemi. He would be my
Just
guy.
don't do the walk. Just don't do the walk to the ring.
No, go do the walk. Like you own the
No,
street.
that walk sucks.
Lean in.
Yeah, I love it. It's like it's him just
No,
having fun.
no.
No, you see, this is the idea. This is the opposite to the Gunther.
It's not 1992. You can't. No.
No, it's the fact that like you can still do that ring, be goofy and silly, and then kick the fuck out of you after.
Tell him not to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you pop up there. You just go have a pop up there to Florida. And you tell Obafemi to.
I will fly to Riyadh.
We'll clip this and tell him to stop doing that on your behalf.
3 white dudes on an Irish podcast should not be telling Obafemi what he can and can't do, or what is and what isn't racist.
Exactly.
Do you know what? I'll give you something interesting. I priced 2 tickets to Raw in Belfast, right? Coming in at about €800 thereabouts, right? Between 650 and €800, right? So I decided to compare. So I went onto the interwebs and I priced a flight to Riyadh and a hotel in Riyadh and a ticket to the Rumble. It came out at €40 more than the 2 Raw tickets for 3 nights in a 5-star hotel in Riyadh and a ticket to the Rumble.
Bizarre, isn't it?
£849 for me to travel to Riyadh and stay in a 5-star resort for 3 nights and have a ticket in the lower bowl of the Rumble for $64 a ticket.
And all it took was a couple of human rights violations.
Well, yeah, okay, look. You know, I'm just saying, if you want to go to the Rumble or Raw in Belfast.
No, it's not Belfast for the human rights violation. Sorry, just in case everyone was curious there. Sorry, I realised that.
Yeah, look, no surrender and all that stuff. Yeah, we get it. Exactly. But, I mean, it just shocked me. It really did in this day and age with the way ticket prices are going, where everyone's complaining, that I could fly to Riyadh, stay in a 5-star resort for 3 nights, go to the Rumble for almost the same price as 2 tickets without accommodation and without transport to Raw in the SSE arena.
It's mad. That's absolutely fucking cracked, to be honest with you. And I guess it's kind of direction travel for these shows lately. So, but yeah, there you go. Right then, so we're going to take a bit of a breather here.
On the Saudi note, just because, not to go all political and demonetize your channel immediately.
I had no one to begin with, Jamie, so crack on. It doesn't matter.
Oh, good. I mean, the moral outrage at Saudi is surely done at this point.
Yeah, I think they've been caught up to at this point.
10 years ago, went into an embassy and got chainsawed. You just said SummerSlam is in Minneapolis. Like, you want human rights violations?
A woman was walking down the street today in Minneapolis. She tried crossing the street and got stopped by an ICE agent saying, have you not learned from, to quote him in a video that was posted online, have you not learned from the other day? Have you not learned from the other day? And then after that, she said, well, what do you mean what I was supposed to learn? She smacked the phone out of her hand and took her into custody. This was a woman walking down the street, did nothing fucking wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sooner in Riyadh than I am in fucking Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless I'm Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, let the NIS agent try that with him.
To be fair, I think Lesnar's more likely to be.
The bullets just kind of bounce off the pecs like Wolverine. Like, he just, and then he'll cook them, he has a meat company, right? He'll just throw them in the grinder like GTA 3.
Yeah.
Just get them in the cat food factory, you know what I mean? Just grind them over the rest of the steaks.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's just sufficient. So yeah. With that, then, we'll change tack here now. So, obviously, you people, lovely people, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably wondering what's this weird and wonderful 2K universe mode that I'm showing you. Well, this is our mirror universe, and much like our other mirror universe, that's totally different to the one that we're doing now because it's a different channel. I've used this for not only just to give your eyes something to do while listen to us talk, but also to give you lovely people here on the call something to do as well. Because this segment is called Creative Control. And as the name
Yay.
implies, I'm giving you lads an opportunity to mess with my WWE universe, or AEW universe, or TNA universe, depending on your flavor. So behind the scenes, we had done a little draft. I probably have preambled this in the intro, because that is good pacing. And you would have done your draft. You would have decided who your rosters were, and then with a lot of like hair pulling and like gnashing of teeth, I eventually got some functioning rosters on the universe mode, and I've got shows running as we go. The idea here is that this mirror universe is going to basically run at the same time as our own current universe. So whatever day we're recording, pretty much universe mode will be at the same pace as we are. It's a little bit behind at the moment, just because of logistics, but it will catch up eventually. So let me
I was
tell
going to
you.
say, what were the results of Dynamite last night compared to the Mirror Universe?
Well, this is what I'm gonna have. This is what I tell you. So we've got 2 weeks worth of content to catch up on.
Okay,
So
okay.
everyone said their champions, and anyone who knows the champions will be
Yeah,
there. If
yeah.
not, I'll show them
Yep.
on screen. But in the first week of January, we already have new WWE Tag Team Champions on Raw as the Street Profits beat the Judgment Day in a ladder match.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Fair.
Yeah,
Absolutely fair.
yeah.
Awesome.
All
In fact,
right.
day one Raw actually ended with a ladder match between. Oh, sorry, forgive me, my notes here. It was a tables match between Street Profits and the Judgment Day. And sticking with that theme, Roxanne Perez challenged Io Sky for the Women's Championship in a ladder match in the main event, and Io Sky retained.
Okay.
Uh,
Nice. Okay.
so
Rod's already looking
Excellent.
better in the
yeah,
Mirrorverse.
yeah. So you see, Jamie was our GM for Raw here, so he does have a vested interest in how his roster went. Elsewhere on Dynamite, well, I suppose like the two kind of
Who got
interesting
it?
things.
Who got injured?
No, no one's injured to what I'm aware of, anyway. But we do have a few feuds brewing at the moment. So
Okay.
between the 2 weeks of content, it looks like the title feud is between MJF, the defending champion, and Orange Cassidy, who, as I learned from the
Okay.
kind of interim period of simulation, Orange Cassidy took the belt of MJF, and MJF retained. So, they've been doing a bit of hot potato between the two.
I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that.
Whereas the tag team division is currently being contested by Cage and Cope, the Authors of Pain, and a team inexplicably of Okada and Ibushi. Which
I'm
so
okay. I'm very okay with that.
so there's some stuff happening there as well. More on the story as we get it. On NXT, we had another title change as well, as Stephanie Vicker won the North American title from Jordan Grace on New Year's Evil.
Stupid.
And we had a cracking main event,
Love
which you
that.
guys would have seen up on screen, as Sami Zayn defended his North American Championship against Ethan Page. Um, then we have on Impact a Fatal 4-Way main event between Eric Young, Eric Rowan, Baron Corbin, or Bishop Dyer, I prefer, and Claudio Castagnoli, a match that I have called Monsters Bald, where Eric Young won and continued to dominate the roster with his TNA World Championship.
I
Uh,
would like to note also, folks, that Jonathan wanted two Eric Youngs in this match. I'm not going to let that go, Jonathan. He wanted two Eric Youngs in
Better
this
than
main
one.
event.
Better than one, man. I'm telling you. You don't understand. It's all in the numbers, Dave. It's all in the numbers. On SmackDown, again, another change of tag team championships as DIY were dethroned by Chase U, would you believe, of all people.
Ugh.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
The
there you go.
universe really doesn't like the tag division on SmackDown, does
No,
it?
it really doesn't. But it was
Ugh.
also signed off by two champion versus champion matches between Naomi and Natalia. No, not Natalia, beg your pardon. But it was Becky Lynch versus Naomi, excuse me.
Okay.
Because Becky Lynch is the women's champion and Naomi is the United States champion. And on
Hmm.
the men's side, it was Cody Rhodes versus Chris Jericho to open the show. So that's what's happening there.
This is Jamie's worst nightmare.
Exactly.
Christ.
Elsewhere on those two matches, it looks like we're setting up for a Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens feud going into the Rumble. Then we roll in
Standard.
then to our first pay-per-view of the year, which is TNA Hard to Kill. So again, letting the universe decide the match card. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get you two lovely people to predict how this match card went. And whoever wins gets creative control and gets to change one thing in the universe, whether it be your own brand that you've drafted into, or someone else's, depending on the shout. Again, it's going to be very much a Stuart's inquiry on that one. So I'll give you the match card for Hard to Kill. Well,
Okay.
actually, we'll do a 1-by-1 just to kind of ratchet up the tension. So
Yeah.
it's a 7 match card for all these pay-per-views. Yes, I know. If you've seen the TNA roster, getting 7 matches out of this roster was a challenge, but a challenge at the universe mode.
60% are women's matches anyway.
Well, in fairness, it is the home to knockout, so that does track.
True.
So we start off then with a match for the women's tag team championships between the Inspiration and Kalani Jordan and Kiana James. So who do we think won on that one?
I'd go with the Inspiration.
You got Inspiration?
I'm going Kiana James.
And Jamie's off to a winning start. It is 1-0. The Inspiration did indeed retain their tag titles in the opening contest. Sticking with the knockouts, we have a singles match between Tessa Blanchard and JC Jane. Dave,
Tessa
seeing that Jamie
Blanchard.
went first, you can go this time.
Tessa Blanchard.
You want Tessa Blanchard, Jamie?
Can we go the same, or do we have to go?
It's your twist. If you agree that Tessa wins, you can go for it as well.
Tessa. Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, is the right answer because Tessa Blanchard did win that match as well against JC Jane. So we're 2-1 here. Next up then is the Knockouts title match between the defending champion Rosemary and Nixon Newell, artist formerly known as Tegan Knox. So Jamie, you go first in this one.
Rosemary.
Rosemary, you're going for a retain. Dave?
Yeah, I was going to go the same. Rosemary, retain.
Rosemary, and you are both correct. Rosemary retains against Nixon Newell. Now we have our next tag team match. It's now the men's tag team titles being defended. The team of Gallus, or indeed the Coffee brothers in this case. Actually, I believe it was Wolfgang and Mark Coffey.
Wolfgang and Mark Coffey, yeah.
Yeah. Versus the System of Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. Right, the System being the defending champions here. So, who do you think won between the Cough Gang and Brian Myers and
Cough Gang.
Eddie Edwards? So,
is it me?
Yeah, Dave, you get the first shout.
I'm going to go with Cough Gang for this one.
You're thinking Gallus. Okay. What about yourself, Jamie?
Yeah, Gallus. It's a tough one.
Why
I'm going to stick with my gut.
Why does it have to be Brian Myers? Any other two of the system, I'd be like, oh yeah, the system. I'm still going to go with the System.
You're going to go with the System, and Jamie, you take the point. The System did retain the World Tag Team Championships.
Racist against Scottish.
Eddie did the heavy lifting, I'm sure.
Yeah. I didn't see the match, so I couldn't possibly comment. Next up then is a bit of a weird one, another tag team match between the Rascals versus Eric Rowan and Ashanti Adonis.
Okay, that's just weird.
There's universe mode for you. How's that for a couple?
That is very strange. I mean,
if Ashanti Adonis is on, did he take AJ Francis as well?
No, I didn't have space for AJ Francis.
Right there.
Yeah, I know.
Fair
I
enough.
didn't have space for him, so no. And to be fair, I don't think even TNA has space for him, really, if we're being honest. Man has been a bit of a joke for 2 years. So yeah, who do we think? The Rascals or Eric and Adonis?
I forgot. I'm going to go with Rowan and Adonis. I'm going to go the outside shot here.
All right, interesting. Okay.
I'm going to go on the outside shot here. I don't know why, but I'm just going to go with my gut. Fuck it. My gut's normally wrong anyway.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough. How about yourself, Jamie?
I'll stick with the Rascals.
And would you believe, Dave, you're right to trust your gut. The Rascals lost to the team of Eric Rowan and Ashanti Adonis.
Okay, then.
Not sure what the two have in common, except for beating the Rascals. So, I don't know. I don't know
if it can if it can work for Bandito and Brody King, it could work for anyone.
Anything is possible, I guess. Yeah, exactly. We're 2 matches away now from the end of the show. So up here is a battle of the balls. It is Christopher Daniels versus Zach Gibson.
Ooh. Oh, that's a tough one to call. Because Daniels is old, but Gibson, it's video game, so
yeah, I'm giving it to Daniels.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Daniels.
Fallen Angel.
You're gonna go Daniels, and both of
Yeah,
you
I'm gonna
are
go
correct.
Daniels.
Christopher Daniels does beat Zach Gibson,
Yeah.
um, which
I
means
was
we're
thinking he's
five.
old, but then it's a video game, so
Yeah, but
what's that
also
fucking matter?
it's all stats based anyway. So it depends on like how what's stats the
Yeah,
wrestlers are working with.
true.
So, then we have our main event. So as we go into this, Jamie's leading us 5-4. So there's a chance to level it up, and both of you could get creative control here. So we shall see. The TNA World Championship being defended by Eric Young against who he is now known as Bishop Dyer, or at least in this world, Baron Corbin. So Young
Oh, that's a
versus Baron
ball
Corbin.
ache of a decision. Another baldy match.
Bald is beautiful on TNA.
Yeah. Give me a second.
Tricky one, isn't it?
That's a yeah, we got that right. Um,
I believe Jamie,
I'm
you
gonna
did
go
her
Eric
first
Young.
choice in
I'm
this.
gonna go Eric Young. I'm done. Eric Young. Lock it in.
Okay,
Final
you're going
answer.
Eric Young. What are you fancying, Jamie?
Yeah, no, I kind of want to go Eric Young too.
Okay then. And Eric Young retains. He absolutely retains
Jamie
his
Jamie
championships.
wins creative
Yeah.
control 6-5.
So hilariously, we've gone through an entire hard to kill I think pay-per-view called Hard to Kill, where indeed the champions all retained. The clue was in
They
the
were
fucking
indeed hard to kill.
they were hard to kill. So there you go. So yes, Jamie, you do win this inaugural edition of Creative Control, which means you get to change one
Ooh.
thing in the universe, or at least call your shot and say you want something in your universe.
Um, in advance of the Royal Rumble, I would like to call up Roman Reigns from developmental
Yes, please.
because
Thank you, Jamie.
it's going to take a couple of rounds of creative control, but we can undo the damage Aaron did.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes,
Uh,
Jamie.
that's
It's all
that's
good to have you in my
fantastic.
corner.
Yes, we again. Well, it's probably not going to make the edit in that respect, but the consternations and uproar from Aaron's draft picks were legendary. So yes, I think Roman Reigns is going to get drafted, but which brand is he going to be on, Jamie? Are you calling your shot for Raw, or do you want him on SmackDown? Or will I flip a
Any
coin?
chance of putting him on both and seeing what pans out?
We could certainly,
Or is
we
there a
could
way
certainly
to
try it.
randomize this?
Well, I could just flip a coin
Like,
and see.
I'd nearly leave him down there until the Rumble and
Hmm.
then see what happens with him in that match.
Okay, all right, then that's fair. I will call a shot then, so he'll be called up at the Rumble itself and see where it goes from there. Okay, cool. So that's our first bit of creative control, and then we will on our next podcast check back to see how that impacts the world. So there you go. NXT, I'd say, has lost his their one of his biggest hits, but he actually hasn't featured on NXT yet, so it actually kind of no harm done really. Um, so there you go. So yes, that's it. That is all from the Mirror Universe for the moment. So we're going to end our show with our new segment called Top Graps. Insert title here. So this is going to be well. It's meant to be a quick fire round, but obviously for our first episode, it's not going to be. It's going to be a bit more of a discussion. But the idea is that we're basically going to shape our kind of our top 10 most interesting wrestlers at this moment in time. And then every episode that we do have, we're basically going to jump in, take one name out, and put one name in, and basically have this kind of like ongoing list as we go along. So obviously, whatever kind of like hierarchy we set up at the moment, we can chop and change to suit. So someone could be number one, number two, kind of like power rankings. But certainly the mechanism is we always have to take one person out and one person in as we're doing this discussion. So, and again, this could be all wrestlers. It's not exclusive to WWE. It's people from TNA, AEW, the Indies, New Japan, the Joshiverse, Dealer's Choice here on this one. So it's really all these people that have kind of caught your interest, who you think is the most interesting characters or the most interesting booking, or is just generally just quite hot right now. So I think what we might do is maybe just spitball a couple of names just generally from all the kind of little spheres and see how they all shape up from there. So
I
um maybe just go round robin and just pick out like names as we go along, and then we can start doing a little bit of a shape up from there. So
Fair.
I'll probably
I'm,
start
I'm
off and I'll go with the low hanging fruit with Gunter. I think that'd be reasonable to say there, I think, wouldn't it?
fair.
Uh, Do you know what? Let's give ourselves a kind of an arbitrary like number of picks. So like, so Jamie, you obviously have one at the top of your list there, do you? Or
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
all right, who have you got on
So
your short list?
I think the most interesting wrestler in the industry right now this week, and he's also likely to be the one that can be removed from the list next week, AJ Styles.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Um, that's absolutely fair. How about yourself, Dave?
So are we talking about who we're interested in,
I think just like
or
kind of
who?
objectively, let's say let's take our put our like subjective hats
So
on, and
if I
kind of.
was to go with exciting talents up and coming, who I'm quite impressed with, I'd probably go Kyle Fletcher.
Okay, we'll go Kyle Fletcher. Okay,
Hmm. As an up and comer.
yeah, okay. I'm gonna have Finn Balor on my short list as well
Nice, nice.
on that one. So we'll go around and we'll
Hmm.
try to build a little pool here until we start shaping them into a numbered style. So, Jamie, how about yourself? Anyone else you want to throw into the mix?
Um, I would go with Drew McIntyre, who surprise title reign and all is kind of on fire.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a reasonable shout as well. Dave, how about yourself?
Dirty Dom Guerrero.
Dom Dom Guerrero, yeah, absolutely. Um, Becky Lynch, to be perfectly honest, still doing quite a lot of like doing more work for the mid card belt than the current champions are for the main
Yeah,
belt, really.
agreed. Agreed.
So I think that's
Fair.
a reasonable one for me. Again, also not like being patriotic and saying that. I think that's just genuinely she's doing what there's more of a body of work with what she's doing at the moment. So, um, we'll keep going around here. So, Jamie, any more names to the list?
Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a that's a very intriguing one to say the least. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, anyone for yourself, Dave?
I'm gonna go absolutely batshit crazy outside here, but this is a character I've absolutely loved for the past year or two.
Mm,
He's not really spoken about, but he is like on the indies is very well known at the moment. I'm gonna go Mads Kruger.
Kruger. Okay.
Love the character. Absolutely love the ring gear, the character. He's very, very agile for a big guy. But he is someone I'd love to see go further
Okay.
as he stands at the minute.
No, that's fair. That's a not a bad show for the indie side of it anyway.
6'8", 317 pounds. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
if we're going for up and comers, I think Obafemi has a lot
Hmm.
of intriguing stuff about him as well. So I'm gonna have Obafemi on my short list here too. Uh, we can keep going there, Jamie, if you have more.
Um, I am intrigued to see what's next for Julia.
Yeah,
Yeah, good
that's a
shout.
good one. Yeah, absolutely.
Um, yeah, Lyra Valkyria is my last one. I suppose we'll have one more. Um, I'm interested to see if she'll be in the final four of the Rumble.
Mm,
I think
that's
she would
fair.
be I think that would be an opportunity she's well and truly earned to be one of those either final four or final five in the Rumble,
Yeah, that's fair. That's
maybe.
fair. Um, and yeah, I suppose I'll be a bit of a lazy answer here, but Cody Rhodes, considering what he'll do next
Bleh,
after losing the championship.
boring.
Yeah, it's a boring answer, but as I said, it's not. It's unusual to see a
Like,
champion lose the title this early, this sudden before WrestleMania season. So it's kind of interesting to see where he goes from here. Um, any more names to throw on the list here before we start shaping up?
one that I do think deserves some attention because, to be fair, he's been killing it for like a year now. Mike Santana.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
that's only fair. We get
I
some
think he's been
representation.
doing some good work.
Yep.
Very good, very good. Any more AW names you want to throw in the hat there, Dave?
As far as interesting goes, there's only one name that's always garnered interest. It's MJF.
Yeah,
110%.
I get
I
it.
just can't get enough of his pay-per-views. His heel character. Can't get enough of it.
Um, I'm gonna throw one more name in, and I am gonna go with Raquel Rodriguez because, as you
Yeah.
said, like she's been
Hmm.
booked, like she's kind of jumped out the traps a little bit this year, especially with the stuff with Vicaire. And again, it's interesting how Vicaire has been kind of used as a bit of a kind of like kind of battering ram for Raquel here. So it's interesting to see where they're going with that. But considering that she is like, I would have kind of recognized her as kind of third in the totem pole of the Judgment Day kind of little harem, if you like. So it's interesting that she's kind of like now jumped immediately ahead of Roxanne and lived there. So it's intriguing to see where they're going with that. Um, I'd also throw on Rhea Ripley and Io Sky here as well, but perhaps it's a tag team because they seem to be kind of like
Yeah.
they seem to have a bit of shared booking at the moment. So so probably perhaps it's as a two of them and as a single kind of entry. And yeah, anyone else before we?
Nah, I'm done.
For representation purposes from the Knockouts division, having re-emerged Elena Black, the former Cora Jade.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
a bad shout there.
she's managed to get herself into TNA despite having
Yeah,
It's a
a
very good spot for her, to
sketchy
be honest.
platform.
Yeah,
Um,
and coming at the
yeah.
right time as well now with with TNA kind of shaping up now and
Yeah.
really kind of
hmm
really stating
there's.
about who's
I'm
here.
genuinely interested to see what she can do with
Yeah,
a women's
If she
division, and she can be her.
if she stays healthy and doesn't get injured, I'd be hopefully seeing something from her.
yeah, yeah. I think
I
she definitely
suppose
has a potential to be that kind of like that kind of core of the
Hmm.
roster, the same with the
No
kind of
pun intended.
the beautiful people were. Yeah, so we shall see. Okay, then. So I think that's enough names for our shortlist. So it is now a case of putting them into some level of order. So I suppose we could do this either top down or bottom up, depending on how you guys are preferring. So would you rather we work up our way, or would we go with who we recognize as the most the hottest, and then we kind of say who's like cooler than that from which point on? What would work better for you guys at the minute?
that's probably hottest to
Yeah. Okay.
relatively least hot.
Fair enough. Then.
Yep.
So what's the first name on your on your lips then for that one?
For this week in particular, I'd definitely be going with AJ, just for the fact that the whole
Can't
world
argue with
seems to
that.
be
Yep.
talking about whether he's done or not.
Yep.
AJ Styles, top of the pile then. And who we go then for number two?
I suppose by extension, Gunther.
Gunter, yeah. Yeah.
Is
That's
he
that
going to
little
be the
bit.
one that ends him?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fair.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's absolutely fair. Um, number three then. This is where it gets a little bit kind of trickier. I would perhaps be kind of imp as opposed to again, I think either it's I don't think Finn will be number three for me. I think that we could be looking on the AW side for number three because I'd say everyone's kind of has like a little bubble of intrigue. I think the Rumble's going to decide who's hot and who's and what and who's not in that respect. I think Drew's kind of in the middle of the pack there for me personally, for like like in like maybe not quite the bronze like medal at the moment. What would you say, Dave? If we were to say Kyle Fletcher MGF, is that would be third hottest at the moment in wrestling, or
Yeah. That's it.
yeah? So
MJF. Easy enough for
MGF,
me.
yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Um,
Look at
where
Jamie's
would you
scowl. It's
where
like,
would you
how
say
dare
Mike's
you
in?
mention?
No.
How dare you mention them? Yeah.
Um, and by extension, then, where would you see Mike Santana and Elena Black in the ecosystem here, Jamie? Who like what do you think is working out here for? Because obviously, like
They're the
the
lower.
best
They're
work
the
for them.
lower card,
Yeah,
no? Lower card,
yeah.
surely.
Like, how many people are on this list?
Well,
Because
it is a top 10, so yeah, it's whoever we think is better or worse in the moment.
in
So
that case, we'll see if they make it.
yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Okay then, so we have MGF at number four or at number three even. So who do we have in fourth? I would say my personal instinct would be either Jacob Fatu or Drew McIntyre on this one. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I would go Drew. I would go Drew on this one.
okay, and then we get to
Just
number.
this, it can be like the intrigue factor as well,
Mm,
which I did not call that man being champion right now.
exactly. That I think that's what has him on the list for me is like that it came out of the fucking blue a little bit. So yeah, absolutely. Um, number five. I mean, again, I'd possibly be making the case for Finn Balor here, but that's just me personally. Again, that kind of that little bubble of intrigue of like, are we actually going to see
Mm,
a Finn Balor
yeah.
resurgence? But
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, I'd give that.
okay then.
It looks like
That'd be
they're
fair.
finally
That'd be
giving him
fair.
that main event push.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, then who do we have then as number in? Now we're into the lesser five now of this list. Who do we have from six downwards?
Um, oh, Fletcher, I'd say.
Yeah, I think we'll go with that. Kyle Fletcher. We'll trust your coach on that one there, Dave. So we're now down to number seven.
Rio as a tag team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rio, definitely.
very good. And then eighth on the totem pole.
Have we said Santana yet?
We haven't. In
I give him
fairness.
a go.
I
All
put
right,
him
Mike
on there.
Santana on
Yeah.
the list at number eight.
Give Dixie Carter a bit of representation.
I would say Scott D'Amore, but he's also gone. So,
He's also gone. What a mistake that was.
in that case, do we have an argument then for either Becky Lynch or Jacob Fatu, perhaps?
Fatu.
Jacob Fatu, yeah,
Fatu. And where he's going, what's happening with him.
yeah. So what's interesting now is that we're now in the 10th spot then, and like the champion for the last year might not actually make this hot list with Cody in Cody Rhodes, and I don't really want
Yeah,
that.
good.
He's just
Yeah, that's the thing. I
Exactly.
think he has gone a little bit cold, so it's interesting how he's like
It's
kind of
it's the
fallen off.
reason he dropped the title because I think everyone realized
Mm,
him getting booed coming out as champion can't really turn heel because he's got all these endorsements and he's the face of the company.
yeah.
So he's kind of stuck in a spot where, well, I can't really turn heel
Mm,
because I can't really endorse these products and they're booing me and they're loving Drew. So it makes sense to give Drew the title. Because Cody's
yeah,
going cold as shit.
that's fair. Yeah, absolutely. So do we have a shout down for number 10? I'll go for the people that we haven't listed already, which is
yes.
Dom Mysterio, um, Becky Lynch, Kruger, Obafemi, Julia, Laura Valkyria, Cody Rhodes, as you mentioned, and Raquel Rodriguez and Elena Black. So who?
I Raquel. There's names on there that I think after the Royal Rumble are going to be shouts. The likes of
Yeah.
Obafemi, Dirty Dom. Like Dirty Dom hasn't been around for a little while. He'll probably show up in the Rumble.
Hmm.
Obafemi, much the same, but Raquel for what she's doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So that's our top Graps 10 then in that case. So from the bottom up we have Raquel Rodriguez at 10, Jacob Fatu at 9, Mike Santana at 8, the team of Rhea Ripley and Io Sky at 7. Again, that might be swept out and replaced with just a singular pick if you want to at any given point. Kyle Fletcher at 6, Finn Balor at 5, Drew at 4, MJF at 3, going to number 2, and perhaps the one and only time, AJ Styles at number 1. And we will revisit this list on our next episode of GrapsWatch, hopefully next week or the week or two. But speaking of, that is the end of the pod, lads. That is the last bit of
I,
business
I
here. But
I
what do you
do like that if we only have him for 1 week, he got to be number one and he is the phenomenal one.
He is. That's it.
I
It seems
yeah,
appropriate. This is the
He
last.
will
This is the greatest
retire
honor
from
has had in
he
his
will
career.
retire. He'll retire from WWE competition this weekend. But I guarantee you we will see him in TNA and New Japan throughout the
Mm,
rest of the year.
I agree. That's the way I feel
yeah,
like. I feel like this is going is so that
yeah,
he's being free
And
to
that's
go to
great.
TNA. Yeah.
I think
yeah,
he is TNA more than he is WWE when you really look at it. He was
yeah,
made in TNA, and his best stuff. If you ask him what his best matches are, he'll probably go back to Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe,
yeah.
time and time again. So
I suppose he was
yeah,
younger. It's fucking crazy to think though that he spent more time in WWE
yeah,
than he did in TNA.
yeah,
Mm.
Like
yeah,
that's terrifying.
I remember
It's
having this
only been a couple of
conversation
months.
with our friend Brian, and it was the case of where like it's that kind of difference where like he has that kind of like he had that body work in TNA and remember for it because of like he was in such a formative like
yeah,
stage of TNA
Hmm.
and
yeah,
is obviously like you tune into TNA to see this guy that you'd never seen of before, and then all that kind of body work ever since. But in a way, like it's always that kind of argument where like, are you more memorable for that kind of compressed period of your life where you're the hottest thing going, or this more prolonged era of success where you're more stable and more established? Like that's if we ever do a kind of a retrospective on AJ Styles, that's a very good, interesting thing to unpack. Is that what AJ Styles was a better wrestler? Was it the as it were the proverbial X Division AJ Styles, or was it the WWE flavored AJ Styles?
yeah.
There's something to unpack there, I think. But yeah, so again, as when our next GrapsWatch podcast will likely be after the Royal Rumble, either the week after, the week after that, depending on people's availability, and if we've all recovered from the Rumble at that stage. Because I'm going to be honest, lads, I'm going to be fucking pissed for most of it. It's going to be great. But it's proper
At
horror.
a sold-out wool shed in
Yeah.
Dublin city centre.
Listen, I'm gonna be fine. Like, listen, the man's gonna be drinking all day. Like, it's one thing I can do when
If you don't live stream from the channel while you're in there, then you're failing every one of us.
Oh, I mean, like that's
Sure, yeah.
that's well. I say you should you should have flown over this weekend in that case, but that's. I tell you're fuming that the League of Ireland hasn't started yet. That's the problem. If it was the same week as if Shells were in the President's Cup, you wouldn't be having this problem.
If no, exactly. If Joey O'Brien had done his fucking job, it would have been better. Yeah.
So see,
I'm not even a
that's the
Shells
first-
fan, but it gets me back to Dublin.
That's the first scoop on GrapsWatch is that Joey O'Brien has ruined the Royal Rumble for Dave. That's what's happened there.
Really has.
Yep.
It really has.
In any case,
Damien Duff to come in at number 30.
that's you do great, to be honest with you. In any case, right. So that's our GrapsWatch podcast. We will be back next time with retrospective on the Rumble that was and whatever other business comes around in the meantime. But for now, thank you very much to Dave and Jamie for jumping on for this episode. Hopefully, you'll be back for the next one. Maybe we'll have a rotating crew. Who knows at this stage? I literally just send a call into the WhatsApp group and see who bites, because that's how the shit works. So until then, guys, we'll see you for the next one.
Bye.